This time, we're going to present an adoption of the agenda for our organizational meeting.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
At this time, we will have an election for
No, that's
chairman
it.
of the board.
We gotta say aye.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
First time.
First.
At this time, we're going to have an election of chairman of the board.
I nominate Danny Lundy for chair.
I have a nomination too. So
So we have to go to one at a time.
go one at a time, okay.
Can we know?
Second on
Yes,
first.
go ahead and get the
Or I'll give-
second.
I'll give the second on Danny.
Go ahead with the nomination.
You have to call for a vote.
All right.
We're not going to hear the second one first?
Well, no, you're supposed
Oh,
to. Is
okay.
there any discussion regarding?
Any discussion regarding Danny?
No, I mean, any discussion in general regarding the nomination or the process?
I do. I mean, I have some discussion and this is, every year we reelect our same chairman. It seems like we appoint somebody and we throw them in the seat and we leave them there. And so I feel like we need to go and we need to rotate our leadership of the board. And it is a very good policy to have, and it's a successful one, and it keeps one person from having to take on the responsibility year after year.
That's a great thought, but the thing is, the person that is nominated has to be available.
Right.
To come see the superintendent at needs, sign documentation, be here at different times for different things. And at this point, there's limited on that. Brenda was the chairman for years and years and years, and now and that's the reason I nominate Danny, is
Right.
because Danny is
I don't-
available.
Danny's a wonderful.
If we're going to nominate somebody, they need to be able to do the chairman job. It's
Right.
not just here. It's not just in these meetings that he has to do the work.
Right.
Okay.
Obviously. So with that being said, I feel like within our board, we all are completely capable of being chairman of the board.
Definitely.
That's without saying. And I feel like instead of putting one person there and year after year, voting that person in, we should rotate the leadership amongst all of us. And that way we get a different perspective year after year from our leadership. And was going to say, I would love to start that this year. We don't have a policy saying that we need to do that. A lot of boards do. The majority of them do have a rotating leadership. We've never done it in Taylor County on our school board, I know, but I think availability is something that a person would make themselves available if they were not. If they were to accept the leadership role, that would be part of the job, is that they knew they were making themselves available to be, in the district office more. With that being said, I don't have any problem whatsoever with what I was going to say is I would like to see us take our vice chair and move our vice chair each year up into our board chair position, the way it's done with some other organizations, so many other. But that's my discussion into the subject.
And I do support your discussing, Jeannie, given the fact that we no longer can just run for office. We're now put under term limits, and I've expressed concern before that I do think how we organize and how we function as a board, that was another reason why I asked for us to pre-workshop, because I thought more discussion would have been taking place at that workshop in regards to us, even if, we have a new board member come in. It doesn't seem like we have any type of new board member orientation set up. And so I think when we sign and run for office, that we're making ourselves, we're saying that we're going to assume the responsibilities that are before us as a board member, if that's the election of the chair and what all those responsibilities are. I do think we made that decision at that time when we run for office and we're elected. So I don't think the fact, because I know for me, I do have responsibilities outside of that, but I do know with those other responsibilities, I know how I prioritize my responsibilities as a board. So I don't want that to be the reason as to why someone is not looked at because of the responsibilities they have outside of these meetings. Because technically, per statute, we're obligated to 2 meetings. And if there's something that comes up outside of that where the chairman is not available, that's why you have the vice chair that could step in. So again, I don't have any problems with Mr. Lundy serving in this role if that's the pleasure of the board tonight. But I don't want that to be a reason why someone is not looked at because another board member thinks that person is too busy. Because again, that's why you have the chair and the vice chair responsibilities.
I just know that we've had complications of getting people to meetings and to different things when we need to have them because I work, you work, you work. So that's my mentality on it. I don't want to add stress to nobody, but somebody that's a proven leader, it's because of the term limits also, you've got 2 more years, you've got 2 more years than he does possibly. So, and me and Brenda. So your turns will come and they'll probably come within the next 2 years. And that's another thought process because there may be new board members here then. That's my thinking.
Brenda, well, can I get your opinion on it?
Well, I just think that Danny's done an excellent job of being a leader for us. And that's the reason I seconded that vote or that motion.
On the rotating leadership, do you have an opinion?
Well, I was chair for so long,
I know.
and it was at the pleasure of the board. So
So in your years on the board, have you ever seen a rotation in leadership like that?
on our board,
Mhm.
no.
No, I know.
Well, Brenda
No.
was the only woman
I know,
amongst
for a long
men, so
time.
the balance was there and the men didn't mind her taking that role. And, Sammy was chair from time to time, so it's just a matter of who's nominated.
Danny, do you
Brenda, have
choose
an
to weigh
opinion
in?
about it?
I'll reserve my opinions after the vote.
This is time for discussion, though.
Well, I'm the one that's the bright light is shining on right now. I have no desire to be in the glory light. My only desire is to bring harmony to this board. And without harmony and being able to work between each other, but I'm here. And if you choose for me to serve as chairman for another year, I'll be happy to do that. But if this board chooses not, then that's fine. I've been on the board for over 30 years or 30 plus years now. And many, many of those years, Ms. Carlton was the chairperson. She was the girl among the boys, but she done a great job. And actually go back and look at records. Many of those years I served just simply as vice chair. Did I ever get to do anything? She was pretty regular. She was here. She was Johnny on the spot. But I think the discussion that we're having right now is a discussion that needs to be made prior to a meeting like this. That if the board wants to make a different decision, wants to make a different policy leading up to our organizational meeting, then we need to do that. But there again, I'm just one of the board, and my whole goal, as I said here this evening, looking at another year on the school board, is I just want us to be of harmony. And
Well, you're a
if I
great chairman. There's
if
no
I can
doubt
be
that.
part of that, then fine. Just whatever the board chooses.
Well, can I ask, in this discussion, is there any interest other than Mr. Lundy being chair with any board member right now?
So my thought, and I said my thought was to rotate in vice chair into chairman. You're our vice chair. So that is like the way it's done in other organizations. Year as chair, year as vice chair rotates in, and then that's sort of a,
Yeah, I've been vice chair before too. Not have
We
you?
all have.
We've all- I do not have any desire to be chair because of the busy schedule that it does take. I know I've bared, how many hours you probably spend at the district office?
You just, whatever as chair, you do whatever you have to do, period.
And there's a lot of work involved in that. And at this point and juncture, and I'm just not available like I would love to be. Now, when I retire and I don't have to report to a bunch of people, I would, I wouldn't mind it because I feel like I'd be a little bit more involved than what I am, but right now I just can't. Even though like Deidre, I have other committees I'm on for the board. But signing a bunch of documents and being there when things need to be done sometimes, it would put more of a hardship at this point in my life. But I retire in December of 2025.
Okay, so, well, with the discussion, I guess the only thing we can do, am I taking over the meeting right now?
Yes,
We got to vote.
we still have to vote. Yeah, we still
Move
have to
forward
vote.
with the vote is what I was going to say.
Call for the vote.
All right, I call for a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you can pass it to him.
With great pleasure.
You see what I'm talking about, Reggie?
Welcome to our world, Reggie.
It will get better, brother. It will get better. Okay, let's move on. And this is not the tone. I believe that this board is, we're here to work together. And so
Yeah.
we're going to be fine. Okay, the next on the agenda would be to elect a vice chair for the board.
I would like to see Deidre stay in that position if she was willing to serve.
We have a motion
I'll
for Ms.
second that.
Donnell. Second.
Is there any other interest? I'm not saying that because I appreciate the nomination and I'm still interested. But based off the previous discussion, I do want to give another person an opportunity. I feel like I'm very vocal, so whether I'm chair or not, my opinion is going to be heard. But I'm not in support of the nomination. I just want to make sure because I'm interested.
You're not in support?
I'm saying I'm not support of it. I'm interested, but I just want to make sure, is there any present interest?
Well, Ms. Donnell wants to know, is there anyone else that would like to serve as chair, as vice chair? If not, the motion has been made.
Okay.
Second, Ms. Donnell says she will serve in that capacity. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye, it's so carried. Next is the establishment of our regular meeting place and dates and times. So what is the care of the board?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I mean, I know what we've normally done in the past, the first and third Tuesdays, except for odd months, we do change it around. And with the time we talk about, we've done different times, but with the superintendent, we just need to make sure that, we've all been doing this, but is that time good for you?
Yes, those times are good. We looked over the schedule that was put out for our board meetings, and because of all the trainings that I'll be going to over the course of the next 6 months, there were no conflicts.
Okay,
Good.
so,
It's good.
so I would make a motion that we keep it the first and third Tuesday, and except for the ones that we've modified, the months. And then, are we okay with still at 5:15? Is that I guess that's
Works.
the earliest. I mean, yeah,
That works for me.
I would make that motion.
Okay,
I second that motion.
okay. Motion's been made by Ms. Carlton, seconded by Ms. Donnell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye, it's so carried. All right. Next item is the appointment of our school board attorney. Do we have,
I would like to motion that we continue with our current board attorney, Angela Ball.
I'll second that.
all right, so motion to retain Ms. Ball as made by Ms. Donnell and seconded by Ms. Agner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. All right, time for appointment of board members to serve on individual committees. And so number one is for FISBIT representative and alternative.
I nominate Brenda to stay as a representative because of her knowledge.
Okay,
I would like to second it, but I also got a question. Again, Brenda has a lot of knowledge, and it's to my knowledge, since I've been on this board, she's assumed this position and she's assumed it well, so I have no problem in her continuing. But I do think we need to have some type of plan in place as to who's going to be getting information from Brenda. So whenever the change has to occur, that person will have the knowledge they need. Okay, all right.
And then
Okay.
we've got that on there. We got to pick an alternate as well.
Yeah, can we mention that's been also a big discussion at FISBIT,
Yes,
talking about the term limits and with the knowledge and all, and we're facing it this year with FISBIT with some changeovers. So they've been talking about the importance of how we do also training there. So.
okay,
it's important.
all right.
the alternative, the one who is as alternative, they're able and they're able to attend all these meetings.
Yes.
So I mean, in other words, this second person
Mm-hmm.
certainly is not anything that they can't miss. I mean, they can't be out of the loop on. They can attend and be part of what's going on there, learning. And
Okay.
I don't disagree with you on that. All right, but we have a motion for Ms. Carlton to be our representative this year.
And I
Ms.
second.
Donnell seconded. And all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, then now for the one who might serve as co-representative here.
I'd like to nominate Jeannie.
Okay,
I'll
All
second
right.
that.
all right, so the motion's been made for Ms. Mathis to serve as alternate, and Ms. Agner has seconded that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? So carried. And, okay, for our small school district consortium.
I'm actually serving as vice chair with the Small District Consortium. So unless there's interest, I would like to serve as our representative.
I nominate Deidre to continue.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll
Okay.
second.
So Ms. Donnell would serve as the Small School District Consortium representative for us, made by Ms. Mathis, motion, and seconded by Ms. Agner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. All right, Transportation Committee, or representative anyway. I don't know,
That's you, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
That's you, isn't it?
That's what I've been serving on in the past, so I mean.
I
I'll be-
agree.
I motion for Mr. Linden.
okay,
That's second.
Okay, so we have a motion by
Second.
Ms. Donnell and seconded by Ms. Carlton. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? So carried. All right, our safety representative, or I don't know, we've had a committee on this or just representative
At
to
one time
serve
we
with the
did.
safety people of our district?
We have a committee, right?
Yeah, we have a committee.
But we've got a little bit different flavor this year
Yeah,
going. We
yeah.
do.
We
got
had a
something.
committee when Christy Henry was
Right.
here. Because I was attending the meetings, and at the last organization meeting, we elected Jeannie, where I think Brenda filling in if Jeannie can be available. But I don't know if those meetings have still been held. But we were having monthly meetings.
It was Jeannie. It was Jeannie.
So who
Stay.
served in that?
You want to stay,
Yeah,
Jeannie?
yeah, we'll go ahead. Go.
Right.
Okay,
So we have a motion then for Ms. Mathis.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion.
All right, well, Ms. Agner made the motion, you
I'll second
second.
it.
Ms. Carlton seconds that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, this favorite item, Values Adjustment Board. Miss,
Yeah, it's just, I guess, for information.
okay. It's already been taken care of. Okay. All right, next item is advocacy representative, Florida School Board Association. There again, that was taken care of by, and so by the way, for the information for the public, the Values Adjustment Board, Ms. Mathis will be the representative and Ms. Donnell will be the alternate. And then also for the representative for the Florida School Board Association as advocacy, Ms. Bonnie Agner and Ms. Jeannie Mathis is the alternate. If that's, everything is right on the paper here. Okay? All right. Well, this brings us down to the conclusion of our organizational meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
That we adjourn?
Second.
All right, Ms.
No, take Jeannie.
All right. Who made the motion? You made the motion.
Made the
Motion,
motion.
second.
All right. I thought it come from over here and then hands over here. All right, Ms. Donnell makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Mathis. All in favor for adjournment from this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
And we will move right on into our regular school board meeting this evening. Roll call has been made. A prayer and pledge has been taken care of. Now we're down to the adoption of our agenda. And
Motion.
we need to make note that several items have been added to the agenda. First of all, item 8.01, number 2, that is approval of agreement contract federally funded subward grant agreement for Hurricane Helene. Also added 12.05, number 2, appointment of administrative personnel, appointment of Chuck Finley as the Taylor County High School principal for the remainder of the 24-25 school year. And also added 12.05, number 3, appointment of administrative personnel, appointment of Ms. Shelby McCall as the interim director of BBTC for the remainder of the 24 and 25 year. And those take note of that is being added to the agenda. Is there anything else? Everybody's good on the agenda? If not, if so, then do we have a motion that we adopt it?
I already motion.
Okay, Ms. Donnell makes that motion. Have a second, Ms. Mathis. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. All right, the approval of our minutes on October the 29th, workshop, regular school board meeting, and executive session.
Motion.
All right, Ms. Donnell makes that motion.
Second.
All right, Ms. Carlton seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. And this brings us down now to items of interest by the board, by the public. If there's anyone here today or this evening that would like to address the board at this time, would be your opportunity to. Is there anyone this evening?
Thank y'all for allowing me to speak again today. Didn't think I'd do this twice in 1 year. As a teacher with over 20 years of experience in this district, I return not just as an educator, but as someone who has been personally affected by the recent hurricanes. Last month, I shared my concerns with all of you all about the lack of support for teachers who have lost their homes. And while I appreciate all of your acknowledgement, I must ask what action steps have been taken since then. Many of us are still struggling for family. I currently have no home. My belongings are scattered, and I'm navigating the complexities of insurance claims and FEMA applications, often without any guidance or support. Each day is filled with countless phone calls, and there's no plan that's concrete for rebuilding. As the holidays approach, the stress becomes even heavier. While I am fortunate enough to have a place to stay, it's not home. The holidays remind me of what's missing, and it's challenging to focus on my students when my own life is in turmoil. We keep asking for a relief plan for teachers affected by this catastrophic event. Is there a relief plan in the works? Is there something that the board has actively considered? And more importantly, I do know that the new superintendent does have an important role to play, and he does care sincerely about what is happening. I urge you to establish a catastrophic relief fund dedicated to helping educators impacted by hurricanes, storms, catastrophic events, active shooters. This fund could provide immediate assistance, allowing teachers to focus on the recovery without the added stress or the financial burden of using their sick time or leave. Which brings me to ask, I've recently learned that Ron DeSantis has given our district $50,000 plus. Other counties affected by hurricanes Idalia and Helene also received the funding from Governor DeSantis. It was used to support displaced teachers and schools. For example, in Hurricane Idalia, Levy County received the assistance to support teachers affected by the hurricane. These funds were allocated for immediate aid, not waiting, including housing support and other resources. Dixie County received, the allocations were made to assist teachers focusing on both direct financial support and the resources for maintaining healthy environments. Now we come to Hurricane Helene with the money that the governor has sent to other counties. Gadsden County, and yes, I've reached out to them. The district received funding to aid those teachers who were displaced, which included providing stipends for housing, materials to help them get back on their feet. Suwannee County also had these funds, and they allocated those funds for teacher support that were affected, focusing on the essential needs, even using personal assistance for affected educators. Each district, from what I've found out, typically has discretion on how to allocate these funds, often focusing on immediate needs such as housing assistance or stipends to help teachers manage their own expenses during this recovery effort. We are dedicated to our students, but we can't give our best when we are grappling with such a profound loss. I hope you will take these concerns very seriously and prioritize the well-being of your teachers. Thank you again for your time and consideration, and I do look forward to hearing about the meaningful changes that reflect the compassion and support that our educators truly need.
Thank you. Is there anyone else at this time? If not, I know that the last meeting that there was, my recollection, and I was one of them that said that we need to try to do something, not just talk about it. Transition from where we're at, where we've been to where we're at as far as superintendent is concerned. But I would ask superintendent to check in on all these fundings and try to come back at the next board meeting with, if possible, if it's the care of the board, and try to see if we can't have a working plan for something as other districts have.
Can I ask a question real quick? Because I was there at the press conference when Governor DeSantis made those donations, and I know I immediately asked Superintendent Beshears how would we plan to use those funds. I do know she said that the consortium had shared some information to Ms. Pugh in regards to some suggestions, but also since Ms. Beshears was suggesting a committee, I think we was trying to see what would come from the committee, because I know during Hurricane Idalia, we received donations as well. And being the way it was done for Idalia, there was concern as to whether or not it could be allocated this time because of there was a greater need for fewer teachers. So I do know some information was shared, but the last one I spoke with Superintendent Beshears, she stated the committee was been grouped together, and I think a meeting had been called. I'm not aware if that meeting occurred or not. Okay, I think she said she canceled it due to the transition of between her and Mr. Wentworth. So, I don't want there to be the impression that we're just sitting on money, because that's not the case. But because it was a different circumstance this time, I think we was trying to just make sure we go about it the right way. I as well has been reaching out to districts in regards to what could we do. I well has made suggestion in regard to some ideas. So I don't think it's something we're going to be able to do overnight. I know immediately when everything transpired, there was a suggestion made in regards to, what could we do? But given the dynamics of the situation, I think it is going to take a lot of careful planning and organization on our end so it doesn't seem like we do something and there's a concern. I know that might not be what you want to hear right now because of the impact that has been. But I do know there is a lot of concern from the dais in regards to how can we support and what could we do for there to be support. I know when I reached out to some other districts, um, it wasn't necessarily in regards to Helene. It was in regards to Ian, and it was in regards to Michael, because in those communities, I think they kind of went to a similar situation that what we did with Helene. Because I know, Lee County had a similar situation when they went through Ian. I know Panama City, Bay County had a similar situation when they went through Hurricane Michael. And so I know the direct question I asked, well, what did we do for leave? Because that's what's coming out from my teachers. And what I was told is that they wasn't able to do anything because of leave, but because they had a situation where it was not only one part of the community, a great devastation occurred in both of those communities in regards to their schools and their employees. They did some different things as far as, the schools had to be closed. And so what appeared as leave down there was because the schools was closed. But I know in our situation with Helene, our schools was closed for those numbers of days, but then we was able to open back up. So that was the immediate question I asked in regards to the leave. I know when I contacted Lee County, I spoke with a school board member and they stated that, they kind of came up with some ideas in regards to the money that came down from the consortium at that time with those storms. So I do know that we are trying to come up with something to do, but I think right now it still has been in the hands of operations and it hasn't came from operations to a recommendation to the board. So that's what I can speak to. I am privy to the emails. I don't want there to be that we ignore emails, but we're right now trying to make sure what's going to be, what we're doing before we make a decision on something.
I'd just like to say one thing that, Laura, I know we've been in contact, and I know that you've been in contact with Reggie, and I've also been in contact with Reggie, and it is in the works. We're not just sitting back. And like Deidre said, it'll have to come before the board, but they're working on the operations part so that the policy part can happen. We've got to come up with a disaster plan going forward. Hopefully, we never have to use it again. Yeah, but we didn't have it in place because we never dreamed things would be the way they are. But we didn't have a disaster plan. But Reggie has been in contact with Lacey. Lacey will be back this Thursday, I think he said. And they are going to look at those funds at that point and see if something can be done quickly.
But let me ask a question regarding the $50,000 that Governor DeSantis gave us. Who actually is in control of the $50,000 and who has a say in where that money goes?
Didn't the money come down to the foundation, Kiki?
So it actually is not a board item.
No.
Not something we
Mm-mm.
A
decide.
disaster
So
plan
the money is not within the district and it's not within our scope of responsibilities to make any decisions.
No, but
Oh.
the disaster plan going
Right,
forward.
the disaster
would
plan
be.
is board, but
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
which I believe we've already started working on. We already have a committee already ready to meet. Would you like to have a board member on the committee? Okay, so Bonnie, so you're going to be on the committee?
When the committee's formed, I would be glad to be on the committee.
But I am backtracking a little bit.
The board.
Well, that's a responsibility of the board, but I think there was also some concern in regards to just the legal aspect of that, far as, what was within our scope as to what we could do. Because again, that's our role as policy, but also we have to look at the legal aspect of that in regards to what we're able to do. So I do know, and I don't know if you want to speak to that, Ms. Ball, because I know there was some concern far as what would fall up under our responsibility. So again, it's not like we're not had a discussion, but right now we're trying to get the right direction in regards to what we can do.
Well, the reason they go through the educational foundation is because it takes it out of the realm of a lot of things that would have to be voted on or this or that, the other. And again, Reggie's working on that and yeah, yes. Yeah, that's completely
So we
different.
just went through,
But
we just went through with NEFAC, working on our policies. Is that something we could reach out to them about and that they could help us with?
Neola.
Neola is doing.
Neola.
Certainly.
yes.
Any policy they had, they brought it to our attention,
Mhm.
and it was not in there.
Right.
They would be able to help us develop.
Mhm.
Would a catastrophic event inside the schools, such as an active shooter, that would affect some classrooms more so than others, would that also fall under that policy that would be put in place?
You're talking about the disaster policy?
Mhm.
That's
just
something
know,
for
Just however
discussion.
you wrote, yeah, however it was
We-
Because it
written.
would all be under the same umbrella.
We'll have to
correct?
get with Neola and see if they've developed a disaster policy. I'm sure they probably have one somewhere. I would have thought we'd have picked up on that
Yeah.
and during all that we.
No other district said they did anything different. I know when I reached out, I reached out to, like I say, Lee County, and I reached out, to another county. I think it was it Pinellas? I know I reached out to more than one county, and they said that, they didn't do anything different in regards to policy, but that they did go in there and try to, support the teachers and employees in another way. But it just, the hands was tied in regards to what you can put in policy in regards to such events and leave time.
So would someone in the district be able to reach out to Neola to get the ball rolling on it, or who would do that?
Hannah?
I think we need to have a workshop first before we just say something like that,
We would
Jeannie.
probably need to workshop with
Yeah.
Neola if they have it.
Already in the works, the workshop.
It was not the workshop,
That was a
but
committee.
a committee, yes.
Yeah,
As
committee.
Kiki said, she's struggling to find people to
On the
be
money
on the
part.
committee. So Bonnie Sue has agreed to represent the board on it, which I don't think any of us mind being the committee. We have had many policy meetings with Neola and went over policies, and we can edit them and change them, but getting something from them to start with that is already in existence was a lot better than starting, that's already been through trial and error, is a lot better than starting with nothing, which is, where we're at right now, which we do have an extensive school safety plan. Like when you talk about active shooters, I mean, we have many, many, many plans in place for that. So but we do not have anything for displaced employees. And I think that's what we're really is at the heart of the decision we need to make now is what kind of help can we get in making a policy for that? And who do we turn to help us get that started? So I think if
Well, this is items of interest, so we'll have to,
Neola,
well, I was gonna say, I think, Angela, did you have?
I
wanna
was
say
just, it's already been clarified. I was going to just point out that the district was not the entity that received the money. It was the Educational Foundation, as Ms. Puel has said. And in response, Superintendent Bashirs did comprise the committee based upon Ms. Lilliot's concerns and other teachers' concerns who were impacted. and felt that, I mean, we had a couple meetings about it. We have a sick leave bank. We do not have a leave bank of any sort for such catastrophic disasters. And so it was decided that this committee should be formed to develop such policies and then potentially to involve Neola with their broad expertise in this to fine tune and so forth. That's a mechanics of it more than, an overview. But, the committee meeting was said, as Ms. Puel has said, was canceled because of the transition of the executive and the belief that Mr. Wentworth needed to have input into that process, which I think everyone would agree that would be the best method. So that is in the works. Now, how rapidly that can be done, these folks who are suffering want it yesterday, and I understand that. So now that Mr. Wentworth is at the helm, I would anticipate that that committee can be scheduled. They can have input from the foundation and from the executive. Now, I would caution about having a board member on that. We can talk about that privately, but the conflict of interest may arise in that. Last year, there were some funds that came down. I believe it was $100,000, and the district decided it was dispersed through the foundation, and the foundation transferred it to the district. And the district just equitably divided it among all employees, which then did not create any union obstacles. If this $50,000 comes into the district, then the district will have to address that from the union standpoint, because although there's only, I don't know how many teachers or employees who have been impacted, you as a district cannot take those funds and say, we're going to give it to these 10. You would have to negotiate that and have buy-in from the union, because you would be treating employees different and preferentially, and that is not something that you can do with a collective bargaining agreement.
In that case, any policy changes that we make would also have to go before the union to be.
Well, conceptually, what the policy was attempting, or discussion that I was involved in, was to create a bank of some kind so that employees can actually donate. much as
Right.
You have a participating sick leave bank where people
Right.
donate to the bank, and then if they have the medical hardship, then other employees can donate or they can pull from the bank. So that concept was what I heard bandied about as far as the disaster. And that may be the method that is utilized. And then that is not a situation where we would get into a situation with
With
the union.
union, right.
But, you would have employees who were participating in the bank and then would have, an opportunity to draw from it if unfortunately they needed to.
Right.
Okay, so we're really kind of waiting for some direction from the board, for the board to take.
And Ms. Superintendent Wentworth, I know Friday I participated in a small consortium, the group that the committee we discussed tonight. There's a small consortium of the small school districts. And we was meeting for that annual joint conference. We was getting prepared for the annual joint conference that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And I know I expressed a concern at that meeting to our lobbyists, Mr. Chris Doolin, currently what we're facing right now in our district in regards to the concern that's coming from instructional staff in regards to the leave, as well as, how we as a district be able to handle, this type of support. So it was during in that conversation, we did decide that we was going to put that on our legislative platform, because some other districts shared the same concern. So again, there is stuff being done. So I just want you to make sure that, it is a process, but we are doing things. That information has been put on the platform, and it was shared at that meeting that this has already went to our FSBA platform in regards to the leave and what we could do to support our teachers. So there is work being done.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully just stay tuned. Something will take place just as quick as we can, see what happens. Okay, is there anyone else who'd like to address the board this evening? All right, Mr. Dan, did you have a presentation or something you wanted to talk about? I mean, did I pick up on that a while ago that you?
I just had a conversation in regards to the contract. I meant it was on a consent action in regards to Allstate. I didn't need it to be pulled, but I was just asking Dan, could he give us an update on it?
We have the representatives of Allstate here, so Mr. Scott Brewer, and I think the main question is what is contract management and how is it different than a bid?
Mhm.
And Scott, do you want to come up here and talk on that? Thank you, Board. It's a pleasure to be back here. I was just looking back at the date that I first came to this board and started working with this district. It's been a long time ago. So my youngest daughter, who's now 23, so
Oh, wow.
it's been a long time. So all of the projects that you all have gone through the process in the past, including the last project at Big Bend Tech, as well as the new school, the newest school, were construction management contracting. So it is selected based on qualifications, experience, and then the competitive part of it comes in when we introduce the subcontracting bidding process. So that, the misconception is there's not a competitive dollar value assigned to the project. And initially there's not, because our job is tasked to work along with the design team and the end user groups to make sure what's designed meets the needs long-term and that it can be built within the budget. And in this particular case, I believe would be grant fund services to make sure that that's managed properly. And then the initial contract, and your board attorney can address this, she has a tremendous amount of experience with this type of contracting, is initially just for pre-construction services. So it's not for the total value of the project. And then that's where we earn our way up to getting into the competitive bid market, soliciting the local bid market, the local vendors, the local subcontractors, and giving a guaranteed price that is then brought back to the board to amend the contract for the final price for the final construction documents and starting construction, if that makes sense. So there is a very competitive value that happens in that bidding phase process where we're making sure that the submarket, we have pre-bid meetings, pre-solicitation meetings, discussions about scopes of work, identifying existing conditions and things that need to be included in those bids, and then breaking up the bid packages in a way to give people an opportunity to participate. So there is a competitive value that comes later in the project. So you're not committing to a dollar value up front to the construction manager. You're committing to it once we get it to a guaranteed price. So, and again, that's what my involvement's been for the last 20 years with the district on the projects we've done, has been construction management contracting. So we appreciate the opportunity. Certainly, if you guys have been involved in it, you would see that hard work that goes into making sure we're getting the competitive best value in the market, but also distributing the work in a way that allows a smaller local market to participate as well. And we've been very successful in that with the past projects here in this district. So it would be the same for this project. So I think what they did is issued a professional, it's under the state statute, professional services contracting. There's a guideline that's followed when they issue the request for proposal. Those proposals are responded to, and then a construction management team selected to begin contract negotiations for pre-construction to move into the future guaranteed price. So, and we don't just get to bring our favorite subcontractors to the dance and make our lives completely easy. We have to work hard to make sure we're getting the best competitive value in the market, as well as the engagement of the local community.
That's the most important part. Is
Absolutely.
Local preference and
Yes,
any
ma'am.
bid awards, that
Yes,
any way
ma'am.
you can do, they're
Absolutely.
qualified and
And we've been very successful at that in the past, and certainly right now in these hard times here,
Yes.
with the impacts of everything that's happened in this community. We just finished up, just so you all know, we just finished up the addition at the jail here under a construction management agreement with the county. And we've done other projects that way. I built the hospital here, the school projects, as well as the work out at the tech college, so tech school.
you
So
might as well move here.
I'm here a lot. Yeah, it's a great community. I commend the board. you guys have been, all of y'all been doing it so long, and y'all represent this district very well. And I get to see a lot of school districts, and just glad to have the opportunity to be back here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God, I actually worked on the elementary school with Peter Brown years ago. So he has a lot of local knowledge, and he used that local knowledge to get our price down on the new primary school. I think there was a lot of the dirt issue was a big issue, and we got that worked out through local involvement. Mhm.
Good.
And so that
Good.
gives us an advantage. We know he's gonna know our local people here and use as many of them as possible.
Okay.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, it brings us down to items 4.01. Number one, Ms. Dominique, Benefits Coordinator is requesting the approval of Explain My Benefits Administrative System and renewal.
Motion.
Second.
All right.
I got
Motion's
one
been made,
question,
second.
Shannon. Is this brand new, or is it's just renewing what we've already had?
I don't know if Chris used to bring them to the board or not. I'm just.
Okay, gotcha.
That's good. We like the information. We like the information.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Item number two, Mr. Anderson, Maintenance and Facility Coordinator, is requesting the approval to replace existing VRV equipment, heating and air at the Taylor County Middle School. Brooks Air Solutions is the sole source provider by Daikin Commercial Equipment in this area for amount of $263,500.
Motion.
All right, motion's been made.
I'm on second, but I do have a question.
Okay.
What kind of warranty do we have
That
on
was
this?
my very words, what's coming out of my mouth.
I mean, are we getting a brand new system or? Cause I promise you, it seemed like we always doing some with the AC at some school.
The middle school has not had an air conditioning, a new air conditioning project in 18 years. So this is, be starting the 17th year, so 16 years, equipment is 15 years. So, that's why we're putting this up now, because we're in the twilight of this equipment, and it could fail at any moment. And if it fails, that means that the whole wing is going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. And this is Tom McGuire, and he's from Brooks Building Solutions. They are the provider of the Daikin equipment. He can tell you more about the warranty and
So is this just replacing a piece of equipment, or is this replacing the system?
this is the whole system. Each wing has an air handler, and then it has cassettes in the classrooms that provide the air. The air handlers pump the Freon into the cassettes, and then the cassettes push the air into the classroom.
So when you walk past the atrium and you get where you go into the hallways and right there where it's been extremely hot, this is gonna take care of that? Yeah, it's been hot. Why?
We don't have but one or two wings that's closed in, the rest of them are open.
Yeah, but I mean, you can feel the heat when you come through there, like it's very hot, and you do have staff that be in the area.
That would be a whole separate scope. That'd be a whole separate scope. This is to change all the units that are existing, all the wings and the offices that are timing out. That means that
Okay.
the life cycle is 15 years.
So the warranty's 15 years? 10 years?
10 years.
He's
is
just, this
warranty?
is we're ordering this in anticipation because this, just like I say, the life of the
When they give you the
AC.
warranty, that's usually the life. So,
And then, there's a refrigerant change coming in 2025.
That's next year.
That becomes a challenge to the district because we can still get the same refrigerant that lasts 20 years, portions of 2025. But once the changes to the refrigerant by EPA demand, then we have to change the refrigerant pipe. Additional costs.
So we're getting the new stuff
Basically a new engine, right? Car frame, but you're getting a new engine, which will then.
with the new EPA stuff. Okay.
So if we getting this now,
Will still be 410. The new one is what, R32?
Well, let me ask this question. If one of these go out for whatever reason, then we'll have to put the R whatever?
R410.
Okay. You understand where I'm going? Okay, so we're not going, if we spend $263,000, we're not going to have to, 5 years from now, replace. Okay,
so even though the change you saying is taking place in 2025, which is literally in a couple of months, that ain't gonna affect us in 5 years? Okay. We can get that in writing? Okay.
So I have a question. Do we have other schools in our district that are using this soon-to-be outdated coolant for,
King Hatchie has this system in the classroom buildings.
so,
Classroom buildings.
I promise you.
so
will.
what's the plan?
And we just replaced those units were just replaced, so they're good. Now, the cassettes are still existing, but the air handler units have been replaced.
So the coolant, is it the new coolant that we're using at Steinhatchee?
410A, and that's what we want to stay with, the 410A.
We want 410A. So do we have any other schools in the district that are using the old coolant that's being phased out?
That's
Well,
the
the
one being
coolant's not
phased out.
being phased out. This equipment is no longer going to be made for 410. It's going to be constructed for R32.
Okay,
And, our system, piping and so forth is
Design.
for 410A. So, and unless we want to change all the piping and the infrastructure for the system, then we need to adapt the 410A, and that's the recommendation of Daikin.
Thank you.
Building. That we sat through a
so
class, and that was.
so the rest of our schools are good? When we fix the middle school, we're good?
We still have issues at different sites that
Right,
we're gonna have to address. But, we are in good shape because we did all those projects with the COVID money.
Mhm.
That put us in good shape. And we got 2 new chillers at the high school, we got 2 new chillers at the elementary school, we got a number of new air handlers at the high school. And so, yes, we're in, and Steinhatchee, got new chillers at Steinhatchee, and new air handler, major new air handler for the gym in Steinhatchee. Yes, we're in good shape.
Thank you.
Much better
Okay.
shape than we were
That's
3 or
good.
4 years ago. Definitely.
Okay, all right. Thank you. A motion's been made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Item number 3 is Mr. Anderson, Maintenance and Facility Coordinator, is requesting the approval to purchase a pole barn for Taylor County High School Ag Program, Fortified Building Solutions, $34,089.15.
I got a question, Dan. I read the PO, and I think I understand it. There's 2 12-foot, 100-foot, and they're lean-tos. So they're going to be, yeah,
There's one main one down the middle.
uh-huh,
And then there's 2 lean-tos.
okay,
One on each side.
uh-huh. So my question is, does this price include the installation or the erection of it?
It's only
Building.
building. Now, once this is approved, I'll get the installer for Reeves but that's a separate company.
So the middle one, how wide is it?
12, I believe. I think
The
12,
two
and then the
si-
other one, the other two are 10, I believe. Is that right?
Okay, so 12 down the middle, 10 on each side, so we're looking at 32
32
feet.
32
And then I know
foot
it
wide,
had,
if
said
that's
it
what you
had
got.
hangover.
10-foot wide wings and 12-foot center.
Well, I saw the concrete for the poles. What about concrete for, are we gonna pour any concrete?
Concrete will be 24 because you want, of course, concrete down the middle, then they want partially concrete on the lean-tos because part of the lean-to is going to be where the animals will go out and graze. So that'll be part.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is this pole barn gonna be located?
At the high school.
Oh, so it is going back to the high school?
Ma'am,
Oh,
we couldn't get the
Oh, Big Bend Tennis.
primary school because of the proximity to the neighborhood.
And this is grant funds.
Yeah. All right, we need a motion and a second.
Motion?
All right,
I'll second.
Ms. Mathis makes the motion, been seconded by Ms. Carlton. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. And then our consent items was approved by the adoption of the agenda, and this brings us down to item 11.00, approval of school calendar for the
Motion.
24-25.
School board
It's-
meeting
it's
calendar.
And
school
it's
board
for the
meeting.
school board meeting calendar.
Motion?
All right, Ms. Mathis makes that motion.
Second.
All right, Ms. Carlton seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And then brings us down to item 12.05, the appointment of administrative personnel. Item number 1, the appointment of Ms. Popple as the principal of Teller County Elementary School, effective November the 20th of 24.
Motion?
All right, motion's been made.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mathis, second by Ms. Agner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Can I
Anybody
just,
opposed?
You sure?
So carried.
I do have a question. With Ms. Papa getting recommended tonight, far as administrator, what's the plan far as her position?
For her position,
Yes, sir.
doing interviews tomorrow and Friday
Okay.
for that assistant position.
Congratulations, Ms.
Okay.
Popple. Thank you, thank you.
All right, item number 2, this is an added item. Mr. Finley, Chuck Finley has been appointed as the principal of Teller County High School for the remainder of the 24-25 school year.
Motion.
All right, motion by Ms. Carlton,
Second.
second by Ms. Agner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
Anybody opposed?
Thank-
So carried.
Thank you, Chuck Finley,
All right.
for being a team leader.
And then another item added, which was item number 3, the appointment of Ms. Shelby McCall as the interim director of BBTC for the remainder of the 24-25 school year.
Motion?
All right, motion.
Second.
All right, by Ms. Mathis, second by Ms. Agner. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried.
High five.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby.
Y'all had, I mean, it's like. Maybe it'll calm down sooner or later.
And this brings us down to the items of interest by the superintendent and board. Mr. Superintendent.
I just want to say, first of all, congratulations again to Coach Braswell and the football team for having a great season. Go from 2-8 to 7-4 and make the playoffs. And he was the FACA District Coach of the Year, and he's up for the State Coach of the Year. And it's my understanding as of today, he's leading in the voting. So if you
Everybody
haven't
vote?
been online and voted, cast a vote for him because he's done a tremendous job, not only with our kids from a football standpoint, but as a leader in making young men out of these guys and leading them in the right direction and being positive in everything that they do. So congratulations to him. And I also want to say that at this point, our girls soccer team is undefeated. I think the boys soccer team has one loss, and our girls basketball program's kicked off, and they're undefeated. So it's always good to have your sports programs being successful. I just think that it's a big deal when it comes to making your high school successful, because attendance is going to be better, grades will be better, discipline will be better, school morale will be better, and the community will support. So anytime we get an opportunity to encourage and give out some positives for our student athletes, and not just the athletes, but any of our young people who are doing things that are successful in our schools, we need to bring more positives to the forefront and get it out there on social media and in the newspaper. And let's see positive things for our community. And that's what I want to do. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ball.
Just want to thank the board for the reappointment and the confidence that involves. Look forward to working again with the board, and welcome to Mr. Wentworth. I sat here and jotted earlier, you will be the 6th superintendent that I've worked with, 7 if you want to count Dial 1 and 2.
Dial 1
But
and 2.
I don't know you well, you don't know me well. We will, I'm sure, disagree at times, but my promise to the board and to Mr. Wentworth is that I will be agreeable while I'm disagreeing. So thank you very much.
Okay,
Well-
do we need a executive meeting or anything?
Brief one.
Okay, there we go
Very-
with the brief ones again. Okay. All right, Ms. Donnell.
Yes, first I want to just thank District 5 and the community of Taylor County again for their continued support in regards to me to represent them as the District 5 school board member. Yesterday was our swearing-in ceremony, so congratulations to me, Jeannie, and Superintendent Wentworth. It was a very nice ceremony. So I'm looking forward to these next 4 years. I want to thank the board tonight for the vote of being reelected as vice chair and continuing to serve on additional committees. I'm looking forward to the work we going to do this next year, because we do got a lot of work on our plate. To piggyback on Coach Wentworth, yes, indeed, congratulations to our football program. Again, this is the same team from last year. So just to know that we've been able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish this year is pretty impressive. And I think it speaks to this community as a whole. And I just pray we can put those efforts in other places in regards to other programs. Also picking it back on what he said tonight in regards to our sports programs. We have a lot of great kids in our programs. We do have a lot of great programs. Needless to say, from what I see in regards to our programs, I feel like a lot of our programs go as far as they go because of the people that are leading them. I know my son has participated with football for a number of years, and this by far is the best I've seen it. My daughter has participated with dance, but this year she's a cheerleader, and we got one of our coaches here tonight, and we got a former coach. And these two ladies do a very great job in regards to our cheerleading and what those students look forward to in the coming years. So I know next year when my daughter go to the high school, those coaches there got some big shoes to fill. But needless to say, I see these ladies, they have families, but they're on top of things. And then, they got young kids that are younger than our kids. And that requires a lot at that age. So just to see their commitment and their dedication. So I know what I see with this program. I would like to see that same dedication with more of our programs. And I just really think, it always does an added bonus when you have previous alumni. I know Julie was a previous alumni, and I know Braswell was a previous alumni. And Tara is just, she's family. Far as Taylor County, yes. But I think that has a lot also to do with our programs. I know a lot of our coaches see this as ministry, and I think a big part of it is because it takes hard to work with kids at that age and be committed as you are. So I just would like to see that more throughout our programs. And I think, we had a great start. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but even this year, what I'm seeing with our girls basketball team at the middle school, I'm very impressed as well as with our boys basketball team at the middle school as well. I seen that is Miss Betsy Stevens' son that's coaching this year. So just what I'm seeing so far, and just a testament. I know last night the middle school football program did their end of the year ceremony, and just to see some of the pictures from it and everything or whatever, just was very nice. I know another thing I've seen this year in regards to our athletic program is I think the relationship has always been there between our middle school and our high school, but I know every time I went to a game, I seen middle school coaches on the field as well as high school coaches. And I know we had a real emergency Friday night at the game over in Jacksonville with one of our players. And I don't think Alan was on duty, but Alan stepped in and we had an athlete that had to go to the hospital and, he was able to be there. I think it really meant a lot to that young man's family that Alan was able to be there because Alan has coached this student in the past. So just a sense of familiar that we're getting right now with our athletes, I think it's awesome. But I just want to see where it grows and where it grows and that we can really get the support there because there's been a lot of community support with all our sports programs, as well as our non-athletic. I think I seen something recently about a debate team or something at the high school. And I got all excited for that to just see how our clubs and organizations are going, not just from an athletic standpoint. So I'm just excited. And again, tonight, I do want to thank Miss Lydia for coming back before us. And just her staying adamant and persistent in regards to her concerns, because I think that's what would get, us where we need to be in regards to how we can truly go about doing what we need to do in regards to the situation that's before us, in regards to our teachers. We need our teachers and we do need them in the classroom because of the jobs that they're responsible for. So I think, to have healthy and committed teachers, in order for them to do that, we need to figure out how do we go about supporting them in regards to what we faced with in these last few years in regards to the storms. I think what was stated tonight in regards to the foundation, the money is out there, and I just think we need to figure out what we're going to do with it because I think it's been over a month now we got the money. So I don't think we need to sit on that any longer. So we need to figure out what we're going to do with that and, get a move on it as we continue to figure out how do we offer the support that we need to offer in regards to that which is before us. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Agner.
Well, I echo everything. I've often said up here that nothing breeds success like success, and I see that snowball rolling, and I'm just so thankful for all the people that have put in the time and the effort. And, these kids, the respect that I see that's coming out of all of this is just really phenomenal compared. We have a lot of great young people in our district. And just to see that the community is coming and supporting means a lot too. But just congratulations to everybody that on being sworn in. I'm sorry I missed it yesterday. But as we go forward, I just pray that y'all be praying prayer for us as we pray for y'all as far as making sure that we make the right decisions and that these decisions will hold going forward, that it won't be something that we've got to backtrack, that we think it thoroughly through. And just congratulations to the ones that are taking on those roles to step in where they need to be for temporarily. Sometimes you're like, do I really want something temporarily? But I appreciate that. That's a good thing. And other than that, I'm good.
All right, Ms. Mathis.
Oh, and Deidre's son was killing it the other night at the game. I heard his name so many times.
So I hope everyone has voted for Coach Jesse by now.
I have several times.
Raise your hand if you haven't.
Oh, if you
We'll send you a link.
Ooh.
We'll
We
send
actually
I will
do
send you a
have,
link.
Facebook.
we actually do have a student athlete that's still in the line, Reggie. So we do have one of our players that's still up for the Play of the Year.
Play of the year.
Yes,
My
we do, and I
grandson's
voted
in
for
there
him
from
too.
Marcella.
Yes. So you I'll send you a link to
Facebook.
it. Okay. All right. Anybody else that hasn't voted? I just want to make sure we cover everybody. And, because it is kind of tight.
It is.
It is a little bit tight, but we are getting a pretty good lead for Taylor in it right now. We've got a pretty good lead, but, and I want to congratulate you again, Miss Popple and Shelby, and thank you so much. And Chuck's not here, but we thank him too, because that, without y'all, I don't know where we'd be right now. So we appreciate y'all for stepping up and stepping in and being just what we need in the time we need. So thank y'all. And I want to welcome Reggie to your first board meeting again. And also, I wanted to ask, when is our next board meeting?
That piece of paper.
We do have something on December
think it's-
10th. We do have something scheduled.
On the 2nd.
Look at it's on here. Starts January.
did have the first and third, but then we realized y'all are all gonna be gone at that.
Right. That's what I
So
would.
I changed it to the 10th, we changed it to the 10th.
December 10th is our next board meeting,
Yeah.
5:15.
It's on there, yeah.
There it is.
So there's 1, 2, in 3 weeks.
Okay. And I'm working with kids right now, 3 days a week. It's very exciting. We're working on our Grinch cast at Steenhatchee School for the Hula Day, December 19th at 6 p.m. I would love to see every one of y'all there. Our kids would love to see y'all there. We have a couple of performances coming up ahead of time. And we're with the hurricane, we're a little bit behind. So when Bonnie Sue said for y'all to pray for us, I'm gonna need y'all to pray for my Grinch cast too, because they're gonna need it. We're on a really short timeline this year, but I think that's it for me right now.
All right, Ms. Carlton.
Okay, yes. I do think there's a lot of good things with athletics, all of them. And I do think that we need to be recognizing our students more. I agree with that. I think I really like it when we can recognize them and give them the publicity and all that we can to boost them. I also want to welcome the superintendent and look forward to us all working together with the same purpose. So
Yes.
I think that is what we're all here for. And congratulations, Shelby, Rachel, and Chuck. I think this is the next step. This is good. Congratulations.
When are we going to have the master board? Since Reggie, come on.
December the 10th was part of it, wasn't it, Deidre?
Yeah.
I thought we scheduled first, we was looking at dates for like February, March for master board.
I think if I understood it right, December the 10th, where we gonna kind
We start.
Yeah, we start.
of, and set times and so forth towards it. Okay.
Oh, I had one other thing. I just wanted to say, and Lori's still here, but I'm glad to know that the hurricane relief is part of our small district with Chris Doolin, but it's also part of FSBA's a legislative platform too this
Yeah,
year.
it is.
So so hurricane relief for Taylor County and looking at future plans for all the state of Florida is a very hot topic right now legislatively. So
Okay,
I
thank
did
you.
ask Chris, when I talked with him the other night, because I know the last one I seen, Senator Simon, he said that he didn't know whether or not there might be a special session. So I think we need to keep our eyes and ears to see if we think there's gonna be a special session and make sure we keep in contact with the representatives.
Yes, ma'am.
We are in compliance with our safety meetings, guys. I did not though realize we had a board member.
Jeannie?
Okay, so I'll be in contact.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a new wrinkle this year, sort of, kind of how things are headed. So that's
It was
fine.
Danny
That's
last
fine.
year, this past, what
What?
year?
No, it was you. It was you.
This past year?
Yes, it
I
was
thought-
you.
Well, I thought it was Danny.
Kind of.
I was on it, and then last year we elected Jeannie, and Brenda was gonna cover Jeannie if Jeannie couldn't be there.
Obviously, it's optional.
I attended.
Okay,
but
all right, let's wind this down. I concur,
The Grinch got her attention right now, so yeah.
I concur with what the board has said. Appreciate all the things that is happening and the goals that will be set and so forth. I appreciate the board's confidence as a chairperson, but let me say to you that I have no hidden agendas. My heart is pure.
Do you really?
When it comes to, I just want,
He's always teasing me about my coat.
I just hope the best for everybody. I want you to do your job the very best. And I want everybody to do their job the very best. And I want this district to succeed. I'm nothing special, but the majority of the board says, okay, we'll keep you another year. I'm not going to be around very much longer. In fact, I may not even be here tomorrow. None have that kind of guarantee. But thank you. I want us to work together, and I believe that we will. And I do hope that we can really get a handle on as quickly as we can on trying to give some relief and help to our employees and on that issue. It's very real and needful. And so hopefully we can see a movement on that. But with that said, don't forget we have an executive meeting. We'll ask for adjournment. We'll take just about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we need to move into a very brief.
3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
All right. Ms. Carlton makes that
I
motion.
think Deidre got me ahead of me.
Okay.
I take the second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.
Deidre.